Hello, vinyl community. This is Tommy in North Carolina. And those of you that have followed my Instagram and Twitter feeds probably saw that I was up very early this morning doing the Record Store Day Black Friday thing, like probably some of you are as well, and perhaps some of you aren't. And so I'm going to give a little story here, and then I'll show you what I got, which is very brief because there wasn't a whole lot for this year. But here's the thing. Normally, I went to a store in Brevard, which is about half an hour from my house, and it was, kind of a quiet little town that did Record Store Day, and I got to see my buddies Christopher and Jimmy over there and hang out and do the Black Friday thing right off the bat, and they usually had most of everything that I wanted. Well, Southern Comfort, unfortunately, closed a few months back, and so that kind of left me a little bit orphaned for Record Store Day, and particularly for Black Friday. And sometimes with Thanksgiving and all that, I'm traveling, and I'm in various places, and so there's been several places that I've done Record Store Day, Black Friday. And so this year, I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to be or how it was going to play out, but the way I normally did Record Store Day, and you can go back and see my very first video where I talk about my sort of Record Store Day escapades, is I started in Brevard and I ended up in Greenville, South Carolina, at a place called Horizon Records, where the owner, Gene, usually gets pretty much everything that you could possibly want. And there's another store down there called Pharmacy, which is a really neat little store. They've been doing Record Store Day now. I think this is their second one. And then I also have Harvest here in Asheville. And I love Harvest Records. It's a great store, and I love giving them my business, and I'm in there usually a couple of times throughout the month. And so that's why I like going to South Carolina for Record Store Day in particular, because I don't get down there as much. It's not a very far drive for me. And so I'm able to go down there and give them my business. And so this morning was no exception to that. So this morning I had my alarm set for 5:30 Eastern Time. I wanted to get on the road about 6 and maybe arrive at Horizon at 7. And not sure what the lineup or anything would be. I know for the April actual Record Store Day, there's a lot of people in line. So I usually show up about an hour after they open, and I still manage to get things. And they pretty much have everything on my list. So I wasn't going to fret too bad about this year. But I woke up this morning about 4 o'clock, and I realized that I wasn't going to go back to sleep, so I went ahead and got ready and decided to head on out. So I left about an hour and a half earlier than I wanted to be, and I got to Horizon this morning at about 5:53 a.m., a good full hour ahead of when I wanted to be there. And so you guys can look at my Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, Tommy Burton 75, and you can see the photo of me hanging out at Horizon this morning. I was the only one in the parking lot, only one there. And of course it was like 30 degrees, so I said, I'm not going to just stand out here in 30-degree cold, dark weather. And so I sat in my truck and just kind of chilled out and looked at my phone, played a few games. Another fella drove up, a really nice guy. And, part of the Record Store Day fun for me is the fellowship and getting to meet other collectors and things like that. I really enjoy that. It's probably one of the reasons I enjoy the vinyl community so much, is just getting to know some of you as I have has been really, really cool. And so I met another guy, and of course he drove up and parked right next to me. He kind of looked over at me. And this was about an hour. I'd been there, over an hour by this point. He drove up and he kind of looked over at me and gave me the thumbs up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to sit here. It's too cold and, whatever. I'm not going to fight anybody for any places in line anyway. And so I decided that, just to hang out. And I think he kind of acknowledged that, yeah, we're going to sit in the truck. There's no reason for us to get out and do anything. And then another fellow drove up just shortly after he did. And we all three just kind of sat there. And about the fourth or fifth car that drove up, and this was about 7:30, 7:45. The store opened at 9 a.m., by the way. When we got about 5 or 6 cars, me and the second guy kind of looked at each other like, okay. So we got out and lined up. By that point, the sun was out, and it was really good because the way the sun came up, it kind of was right on us. And so the temperature really warmed up a lot. So if it was in, 30 or in the low 30s when I got there, it had warmed up to the mid 40s. So by the time I got into the record store, or when they opened at 9, I was able to take my jackets off and everything and go for it. But Gene, the owner, really cool. He got there at about 8:20, put a pot of coffee on, came out and served people that needed some coffee, and it was pretty cool. He's a great guy. I've enjoyed going in there, and I enjoyed talking to him, and it's always a lot of fun. So at approximately 9 o'clock, he came and opened the doors, and we went in, list in hand. Now, first off, I did a Black Friday list earlier, a couple of months ago when the list came out, and kind of went over some of the stuff I was after. The one thing that I didn't get today is one that actually did not come out, was the Frank Zappa. There was a Frank Zappa release supposed to be out today, and from what I understand, it got pushed back. It was a lumpy gravy thing, and so I think that got pushed back and is going to come out at a later time, which was kind of good for me because it saved me a few bucks. That was $25 that I was going to spend today that I didn't. And so going forward, here's what I did get. And being first in line, that's the other thing. I've done several record store days. This is the very first time, the very first time I'd been the first person in line at Record Store Day, which I thought was pretty cool. And my friend Sean in New Orleans, he's still waiting in line. Hi, Sean. He's down there right now, currently waiting, and he is first in line as well. So both of us got to be first in line. So I hope he gets everything that he's after. And I can honestly say I went and I got everything that I was after. The first thing was a CD, funny enough, but this isn't mine. This is Why Tori Can't Read. A friend of mine named Michael, hi Michael, he sent me some money and said, hey man, if you could pick that up, he's a big Tori Amos fan, and he said, if you could pick that Why Can't Tori Read CD for me, I will be really happy. And so I was able to get it for him, which I was glad. I'm going to put it in the mail to him, and so he can expect it. But this is a pretty rare album from what I understand. It came out in the 88, and so fans of Tori Amos, there also was a vinyl edition that came out. But I know he's going to be really stoked to get his hands on this. And so I was really glad to be able to get that for him. It's the first time I've ever done that. So here's the stuff that I got for me. And like I said, this is brief. The first thing I was after, and probably number one on my list, was this Turtles 66. This is a mono album from the Turtles, and I'm a huge Turtles fan, and I've got the other two Record Store Day releases they've done, which were greatest hits, also in mono. Now, besides the really awesome cover, from reading the hype sticker on this, it says it's the Turtles Lost album featuring all original 66 mono mixes, 9 previously unissued. So this is supposedly a Lost 66 album. I love the cover, though. The artwork and everything is really awesome. But being a big Turtles fan, was really, really glad to get my hands on that. The next thing was probably second on my list, and from Light in the Attic Records, the Free Design, Kites Are Fun. This is a late 60s. I'm not sure what to expect from this stereo album. It's a gatefold. I haven't opened it yet, but I've got this, I believe, in digital form on my hard drive. And so, like anything Light in the Attic puts out, it's always cool. Now, it's funny. This one I grabbed, the sticker is upside down. So the Black Friday sticker, which doesn't matter. It's a 50th anniversary deluxe pressing seminal soft psych 1967 debut masterpiece from Enoch Lights Project 3 label, a la the Beach Boys and the Association, influencing countless artists, including Beck, Madlib, and Stereolab. This 50th anniversary pressing features restored artwork, liner notes by Michael White, 24-bit remastered audio, and gold wax, limited to 1,000 copies. Now that comes to another whole other thing about Record Store Day, because I think the deal with this, if you look at the list on Record Store Day, it said limited to 900 copies. So I don't believe the list, what they say on there. So this Turtles is also supposed to be 1,000 copies. And finally, the last thing that I got was this on Sundays, The United States of America. I've got this on CD. This is a mono pressing. Avant-garde sonic ammo, circa 1968. The United States of America found the perfect way to permanently hardwire space-age electronic music to heady psychedelia on their highly desirable 1968 debut. At the center of the USA's fiercely experimental universe were Joseph Byrd's kaleidoscopic musical excursions and Gordon Marin's searing violin, each orbiting around the icy cool vocals of Dorothy Moskovitz. Sundays is proud to present this album in its ultra-rare and unique mono form, pressed at RTI and on limited edition colored vinyl. Also, this is probably the most expensive of the records that I got today. The United States of America. And so, a couple other notes. The Neil Young, I passed on it, Harvest Moon. It's the first time it's ever been issued on vinyl. A lot of people were stoked about it. I am too. I just figured that was going to be one of those things that was going to be available, so I didn't feel just this urgency to get my hands on that one. And also, there were a couple other things. The Chris Bell box set, which I'm still very interested in. It's just a lot of money to spend on a single release, so that stay tuned for that. Now, just in the spirit of Record Store Day, I might, in a little while, ride up to Harvest just to say hi to the guys and see what they've got out. Like I said, I love doing business with them, and they usually have really good stuff. But as far as the actual Record Store Day releases, that's what I was after, and so I consider it a success. I hope you guys that are participating, that you guys get what you're after. I hope Sean gets the things. I think he's after a lot of the same things that I was, and so I hope New Orleans is as good to him as Greenville was to me. And happy hunting, you guys, and I hope you've had a good Thanksgiving going into the holidays, and I'll be posting again soon. Comment, like below, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and let me know what you think. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75, and I look forward to hearing from you. And again, thanks for watching.